So welcome everyone. We're delighted to have you on this informational webinar. This is sponsored by the Western Maternal Child Health Nutrition Partners, and we are providing an informational webinar on an RFP that provides technical assistance to state partners for individual policy systems and environmental strategies to prevent childhood obesity. I'm the presenter, Leslie Cunningham Sabo. I'm from Colorado State University, one of the academic partners for the UCLA Western Partners. For this technical assistance project, I'll be the communications coordinator and lead evaluator. Other team members who are on the call as well are Dina Herman. She is from UCLA and is the principal investigator for our leadership training program and this technical assistance opportunity. She'll provide oversight for this project. Also joining us is Angie Tagtow. She's an individual plus policy systems and environment consultant, and she is going to be providing tailored technical assistance to states that are funded with this opportunity. So just some logistics regarding the webinar, that attendees will be muted and that you can ask questions and make comments via the chat option. Should be at the bottom right of your screen once you're in Zoom, but look for that chat option. Type in your questions and hit enter to have them posted. And the other thing is we want you to let us know through chat if you are having any problems hearing us. So just a little bit of background regarding this technical assistance opportunity. The funding really is an enhancement to our maternal and child health leadership training funding that's for 5 years. And this project builds on the I+PSE work done during our April Nutrition Leadership Network meeting. The training funding is for 1 year, beginning September 1st, ending next August. And will fund up to 4 strong proposals from state MCH nutrition leaders with involvement of rural and or American Indian, Alaska Native maternal and child health partners. The overall goal is to enable these leadership teams in 4 Western states to activate broad partnerships and launch comprehensive childhood obesity strategies using the I+PSE conceptual framework for action. And this was really a highlight of our April meeting and something that our partners really wanted more in-depth experience and technical assistance with. So the components of the application, and I assume that many of you have received a copy of the RFP, and we'll note again at the end where those resources will be available. But we really want you to follow closely the contents of the described in the RFP. I'm going to go through some of these rather quickly. We have a brief RFP, as you know, but one of the things we'll want you to do is to describe your current healthy eating, active living, childhood obesity prevention activities. That'll really sets a foundation for the work of your proposal. Also, we want you to then describe your proposed activities. And that includes, let's see, the specific types of activity to be provided, a theoretical framework that you might use for your activity, and then selecting the tiers of the I+PSE conceptual framework. And you can see in Appendix A of the RFP what the different tiers are for I+PSE strategies. So we'll want you to be very clear in your proposal what areas you're going to be focusing on. We also want you to be able to describe to us who the team members are, including those at your state, at the state level, but also who your rural and or American Indian or Alaska Native community partners are. We want to get a sense of what kind of work you've done together in the past and how you're going to function together for this project. We also want you to describe your plan of action and that'll be included, will give us some sense of the sufficient resources for implementation, the commitment of those essential partners, how this activity aligns with your state childhood obesity plan, potential changes in infrastructure or systems that may be related to this, and some other things. So we want you to take a look at that in the description and be sure to include those in some detail. And then really all of these focus on the proposal evaluation criteria. I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. But that is in Appendix C. The rubric for that is in Appendix C of the RFP. We want this to focus as a team approach led by MCH state nutritionists and the respective partners from, again, rural or Alaskan Native American Indian communities. And for those partners, that could also include Indian Health Service nutritionists. Just a few things about format. 2 pages only, single-spaced, 1-inch margins, 12-point font. So it should be fairly short time to prepare this. We also would ask for a signed copy of a letter of support from your direct supervisor. And in the RFP, Appendix B is a template for that. And this letter does not count towards the 2 pages. The evaluation criteria, as I mentioned before, this is an Appendix C, and strong proposals will want to address each of these components. That includes the background, healthy eating, active living background that that's a basis from this to grow from, and then proposed activities, describing the activities, the population and the audience served, the specific types of I+PSE activities you're going to be providing, a theoretical model, if there is one, for your project, and describing how you will be planning to determine the success of this program. We also want to know a little bit about your organizational team and your community partners, describe the capacity of the relationships, and some evidence that you've been working together in the past. And you may notice on the scoring rubric that we weight different components differently, and so these account for the importance of these components. The review of the applications will be conducted by the project leadership here, as well as we have a partner from the Association of, ASPHN leadership representatives and Indian Health Service nutrition representative as well. Association of State and Public Health Nutrition organization. And then some key dates. You probably are aware that the application was released August 17th. We have the webinar today. Applications are due September 14th and submitted to me. We will let those who are awarded know by September 14th, and the project period is September 1 through August 31st of 2019. So a couple of frequently asked questions, and I hope you've all looked at the RFP in some detail and examined the resources that are there, including the University of Minnesota's exciting technical assistance opportunity. But you can see that we are recording the webinar, and that'll be archived on the UCLA Western MCH Nutrition Partners website, along with this PowerPoint that we're presenting and the RFP. So please share that with interested partners as you are developing your proposal. Who are eligible to apply include our state nutritionists in the 13 Western states served by the NLN, and their partners from rural and or American Indian Alaska Native communities. And what will applicants receive? They will gain access to the I+PSE training modules from the University of Minnesota's Systems Approach for Healthy Communities and materials including tailored technical assistance to guide them to develop childhood obesity strategic plans for their partner community. In addition, we will provide a quality assessment of strategic plans that are developed, and we hope this will then serve to promote the execution and effectiveness of those strategic plans that you develop. Also, a question is, what will applicants be expected to deliver by the end of this year of funding? And we expect that each team will produce a plan of action using the I+PSE methodologies and secure a letter of support signed by a community partner with whom you plan on working. That's what we're expecting you to deliver. And so by the end of that year, you're ready to launch that project, that plan. Why do we only, are we only able to fund 4 states? Well, as you can imagine, in these days of austerity, we have limited funds that we've received, and so our resources are limited too. We want to be able to really benefit the funded states that we need to, so that we need to limit this opportunity to them. But we anticipate that what we learn from this experience will be shared with all NLM member states. And another question is, will only attendees of the spring 2018 meeting be eligible to apply? And no, absolutely not. Any of our 13 Western partner states can apply. There were some resources provided during that meeting that may be helpful, though, for you in assembling your application. These too can be accessed on our website. So I think if there are any questions, we would ask people to enter them into the chat box, and let us know if you're watching a recording of this webinar and you have questions. Please send them to me and I would be happy to respond. And at this point, I would ask if either Angie or Dina has anything to add.
Dina?
No, not at this point. I mean, I think the main thing is that we're looking to fund teams. So we want the state nutritionists to be partnering with other community partners. Perhaps they have those relationships already. And this is just an opportunity to extend those relationships. And we'd like to bring the tribal organizations into the mix as well. And so I think this is hopefully an opportunity where we can bring together various resources to support more of these types of projects to improve the community's health.
Good afternoon, everyone. Angie Tagtoe here. Had the opportunity of working with Leslie and Dina earlier this year and met many of you at the spring training in May. And if you recall, we did an assessment as to where we were at on these concepts. And we listened to you, and you shared with us that you were really interested in learning more as to how to apply the I+PSE conceptual framework for action to your programs. And so this is a partial response to the activities that were conducted this spring. And as Leslie indicated, the activities that we did in the spring could be used as a springboard for this application. So perhaps take a moment to go back and review the work that you had done in the spring. I guess the other thing that the three of us would just like to acknowledge is that we know that the states are overwhelmed with many other projects and initiatives that you're responsible for, and that this may seem like another project to consider. And I just want to highlight that the capacity building of this particular opportunity really can be applied to so many other areas within MCH and or public health. So the I+PSE conceptual framework can be applied across the public health department, across public health programming. And so although it may appear to be another commitment for you, I can guarantee that the capacity building that you will receive from this opportunity, if you do apply, will have exponential, be able to be multiplied exponentially across future initiatives that you may encounter. And so just want to put a plug in that it's not just a one-time shot that the capacity building and technical assistance that would be received through this particular opportunity can be applied in future MCH and/or public health nutrition initiatives.
Dina or Angie, thank you, both of you. And if one of you could describe a little bit about how that year of funding would work. We've mentioned that there'll be some resources from the University of Minnesota program that we're going to tailor the technical assistance for each state. Would one of you like to share sort of what that year might look like as they're working to develop those action plans?
I'm sorry, I was just answering a question in the chat box. Andrew, if you'd like to go ahead first, please, and I can respond after.
So instead of building training modules from scratch, we have identified some relatively new modules from the University of Minnesota that look at the application of PSEs in building healthy communities. And so we would help support your time in using those modules and accessing those modules. And then simultaneously, we will also apply that information to building an action plan specifically around childhood obesity prevention activities for these populations. And so you'll be in a cohort group, and so you'd be receiving information as a cohort, but also receiving additional tailored technical assistance specifically to your initiative and to your plan.
Yeah, I wanted to emphasize, there was one question in the box about having a specific childhood obesity program in the state and if they could use a general health plan instead. And yes, of course, it doesn't have to actually already exist a childhood obesity prevention initiative. We can build on anything that's health related in the MCH realm. And just wanted to jump onto what Angie was saying about the fact that we are doing this as a cohort. This really also lends itself to a, working as a network. Each person can then be sharing their experiences and everyone can be learning from each other as well. So it's really a learning collaborative, if you will, which is a unique type of experience going beyond just the CE modules that we'll be offering. You'll also have the opportunity to be working and learning together. And I think that's a very nice resource to have access to.
If I could just jump in and add a little bit more to that about the value of this framework. When we were gathering input from our state partners to write our 5-year competitive renewal, we heard from them, their interest, what they wanted, what they were envisioning for the future was really to kind of get beyond the areas where they were working to really address the root causes of maternal and child health, obesity and other health concerns. And they realized that it wasn't just the excellent programs that they were providing, but there were some really root causes that they were not, they could not sufficiently address by themselves. And so they were looking for new partners to really address these things. And so that really is one of the ideas behind this I+PSE framework, is really addressing things at up to the environmental, the policy, the structural level.
Exactly.
Do we have any other questions?
Not that I can see.
Okay. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up then. Thank you all for your attendance. And as I said, we will be posting this recording. Oh, Angie has a question.
There's actually one question here.
Oh, okay.
So the question is, can it build upon COIN projects?
That's a great question, and I'm going to have ask Dina to answer that.
Yes, so there is actually a childhood obesity COIN that's been ongoing now with ASPHN, and we would love to be making this opportunity to leverage what you've already started I think that's an optimal opportunity to use this new knowledge to apply it to what it is that you've been doing. And I would say a very strong yes. I think that's fantastic. Fantastic way to use these CE modules.
And I'm not able to see the chat box, so if one of you can see anything more, I would be.
That's actually the only other question that I can see right now.
Dina or Angie, is there anything more that you'd like to add at this point?
Just very excited to be part of this and look forward to seeing some great applications.
Yeah, it is very exciting, and we're looking forward to this year and hopefully to expand this opportunity in the future.
Exactly.
Thank you all for attending, and we will be again happy to answer any questions in the future. Have a great day.